if you can see the pace clock, like the one at Cratera Pool is really good because it's massive and there's 3 of them, so you can see them. The one at Rosington, where I swim sometimes a week, they've got one at each end that you can see. It's difficult to crawl because you have to, it's high up and
and there ain't one at all on the
other end.
There ain't one at Concord.
There is, it's on the side.
No, there isn't. You've not been for a bit. They've just got a normal clock on the side now. So
I mean, we often say this, but swimming pools in England are not set up for swimming.
No, they're definitely not. They're definitely not set up for swimming.
No.
Hello, welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis Racing Team. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jackie. We are a mum and son coaching team who have changed our lives through the sport of triathlon.
Our podcast aims to break down the mysteries of triathlon training and show you, the listener, how simple and flexible it can be, so that it really does become part of your lifestyle and not just a hobby.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Triathlonology, a podcast by Animis Racing Team.
I'm Coach Jackie.
And I'm Coach Oliver, and together we're a mum and son racing team based in North Lincolnshire and South Yorkshire, and in this podcast we recall our anecdotes and give out coaching advice in our no-nonsense Yorkshire style.
Oliver, this is the 3rd attempt at this podcast.
Yes, we had 2 attempts on it last week when we did it really, really good. It was one of the best podcasts we have ever done. Even if I say so myself, we both left it at the end, didn't we? And thought
that
was really good.
Yeah.
Then we went to try and save it to Vimeo and all the other apps, worldwide outage was there, which meant that none of it got recorded. And so here we are again, having another go.
Vimeo tried to get it back for us, but they couldn't.
They can't. So hopefully this one saves, and it's his 3rd time lucky, and it's just as good as the ones we did on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So today's episode is going to be about RPE and what that is and how that is better to train with than anything else, and our experience of doing different things, and then an actual coaching science and what have you behind it. So we've used RPE or a form of RPE for a long time now.
Since 2018?
Yes, 2018. Probably a bit before then, really.
Yeah, probably,
2016. And what RPE is a measurement out of 10, usually 1 to 10, unless you're spinal tap, in which case you can go up to 11. But in how hard that you're going, with 1 being very, very easy and 10 being very, very hard, and everything else being a sort of scale in between.
Yeah.
And
it's like when you go to hospital and you're in agony and they'll say, "What's your pain scale?" And you'll say, "Well, some words aren't repeatable, but at least a 10."
Yeah, or 7 or whatever it is.
Or my legs all I want to just come because I've got a bit of headache, it's a 2.
And the reason why RPE is good from on the base level is that most people, particularly if you're sort of English speaking Western Hemisphere, then you're used to describing things as something out of 10. So how's your day today? It's about a 7 out, on a scale of 1 to 10 to 6 or whatever. Or how do you feel today? Similar. So, but these things also apply to exercise and how you feel during and after training. And that's what the course of this is going to talk about. And we, in our coaching group, have our own version of RPE, which is not numbers based, but is
phrase based.
So we have easy, moderate, medium, madder and maddest.
Yeah.
Although not many people manage to achieve madder and maddest, but certainly the first 4 everybody works on, and what they all are. That's what we use, and we use that for a number of reasons, really. I mean, one, that you always are going to have an effort at that level, and as we've talked in previous podcasts about, everybody's day is different on a day-to-day basis. Your cup gets filled with work and family stuff, but so it makes it more difficult to hit numbers that you've set on a perfect day. So people do it with a taper for an FPT test, or they taper for a lactate test. So, and then they go and do that, and then they try and hit those numbers all the time. But it's largely very difficult to do that on a day-to-day basis, because most of the time, or at least after a couple of days training, you're not fresh anymore. So you're picking up fatigue training, which it might not be possible to hit that number on either. and you just get frustrated that you can't hit it. But 2, there are a whole banner of variables that can go into your training session or into your day that will affect your training session. So have you had a good day at work? Have you had somebody getting on at you? Have you
had enough to eat?
Yeah. Have you
skipped your lunch or
enough to drink? Is it 30 degrees outside like it was last week, and so it's really hot humidity in England? Or did you do your test when it was 15 degrees with an air-conditioned room on? So all these things will have a huge effect on that number that you're trying to hit, and it just might be impossible. So we just go easy, moderate, medium, mad, because you can always hit one of those. And during the session, as you get more fatigued, your actual output can decline in terms of like what you're actually hitting pace or numbers wise, but you are still going easy, moderate, medium, mad.
So it's much more
fluid.
Yeah, practical. And it doesn't make, because like if you've got to hit a, you know, watts of 210 or 250 or whatever, and you're getting nowhere near it, then you'll be absolutely, you'll feel that you failed, and we're not about failing.
No, it's a hobby. It's a hobby, and even that some of the best athletes in the world use or have used RPE to train. I mean, I remember listening to the Real Coaching podcast with Joel Filiol and Paolo Sousa. Oof, crikey, 10 plus years ago when they first started it, maybe more than that, and they were talking about using RPE, and Paolo at that time didn't use Training Peaks or anything. He just had a spreadsheet for him to fill in, and he would regularly say, he'd send a text message to an athlete saying, please fill in your RPE score and how you felt on the sheet. So it's not just in our coaching group we use that. There's quite a few who are not numbers based and are using feel, because it's a more, not accurate is the wrong word, but a more truthful.
Yeah, it is truthful because
of how you are on that day.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll go into, in the course of this episode, RPE and, you know, how it interacts with technology and what have you, and exactly what it is.
So you might be thinking, oh, I've got all this technology, and I've got a watch, got mine on. I never take mine off, to be fair, but I don't particularly use it in the way it's supposed to be used, because I just don't.
Well, no, I mean, I started off at the beginning of a session and then I pay no attention to it at all now, which is probably because we've had like time away from training where all our original numbers are just not hittable at the minute, or maybe might never be again, we don't know. So what's the point stressing yourself about that? Because, I mean, the watch is just recording stuff and sending it to Strava or wherever, innit?
Or Garmin.
Yeah. So
Training Peaks.
I just press start, and then when I get to the end, I press stop, and then I press save. And I don't even press the lap button or anything, especially when I'm swimming. I'm not sat at end lane going beep, beep, just pressing it on. I just look at the clock and time the seconds I've got to rest, and off I go.
That's assuming that you can see clock.
Well, I can't see it at crawl.
But you see, I can't see clock.
So you just have to cancel your head.
No, I look at my watch, I just press my watch and I know my watch and I'm off. But I'm not like thinking, oh, I've only done such and such and such and such for that lap, or, you know, that 400 or whatever, because think, right, I've got another 20 seconds and I'm off. I don't think about that, because what is the point? All you're going to do is destroy yourself.
Yeah. So like for me, having took, it just records the session now, and I'll go on Zwift and what have you, and it'll record watts and it'll record effort and what have you, but I'm not paying any attention to that. It goes on Training Peaks. If Robbie wants to look at it, he can. But I don't think he really is that bothered, because he's more interested in how we feel as athletes. And so, but I mean, the Garmin does have numbers 1 to 10 for how hard you found the session, and then faces,
smiley faces,
depending on how hard you found the session or easy you found it.
How you feel, it said that one, because I did notice that yesterday.
Yes.
Thought, I have to remember that.
Yeah. So, but putting it like simply, what is RPE?
Stands for the rate of perceived exertion. Yeah, and it's not hippie rubbish. It is science based, and a bloke called Gunnar Borg formalised it back in the 80s, and his scale was 6 to 20. But
I mean, you can tell he'd be European by using a scale of 6 to 20, because who does that? Like, I mean, how do you feel today on a scale of 6 to 20? Like, what's the difference between a
6.5?
A 13 and a 15? It's such a subtle difference that for most people who aren't in tune with their bodies, how do you pick that out? Whereas at least in 1 to 10, most people have a rough idea of what that is, and there's a difference between a 6 and a 7, but is there a difference between a 13 and a 15 and a 20 point scale? Probably not.
So what we like to call it is your internal sat-nav.
Yes. And that will take into consideration everything that has gone on that day, like your sleep that you've had in the week, in the days up, how fatigued you are, the amount you've had to drink, eat. You eat, like we said earlier, is it 33 degrees and 49, or whatever it is, 92% humidity like it was last week?
Yeah, because you can tell we're from England because we don't have this weather.
No.
We are not set up for this weather.
No, we're not.
And although and we do like to moan.
Well, occasionally we get an hot week, but most of the time we spend our lives living somewhere between 6 degrees and about 21 degrees.
Yeah, 21,
across
22,
the year.
which is fine.
And then if it gets up to 26, everyone's like, ooh, this is nice. But 33 on Saturday were ridiculous. And for people who
the humidity.
For people who are not in England, who don't realise that this is a problem, in England it's mostly cold, and so our houses are built to retain heat from gas central heating systems. They are not made to expel heat. So when it gets hot, it all comes in. We don't have air conditioning because we don't need it often enough.
Why would you buy air conditioning in England?
We just have to have a fan.
You don't even have them because they're all sold out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because everyone buys them off Amazon. It's like a rush product.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have anything like this. So if it's hot like it was for 10 days, wasn't it? Absolutely boiling. Then you just have to put up with it in England, but it does also. I've seen people on TikTok and Instagram saying, who are foreign or not English, saying that the humidity here for the temperature and it feels so much hotter than everywhere else. And I mean, it does because we have a coastal climate, don't we? We get swept in and everything's wet. Like in the winter, I remember Marta telling me, because she was from Poland, and like in Poland it got so cold that the diesel engines for the buses would freeze up, and she would maintain that in England in winter, when it was like 2 degrees and raining, that was far colder than minus 35 in Poland. And I'd be like, what are you talking about, Marta? Like, this is a 37 degrees difference, which is now it's just different because it's wet. So all of these things have an impact on how you feel and how you go through the day and how your training happens. And so if, particularly when we're coaching newer athletes who aren't as attuned to the body and tend to have without being overly critical, they tend to have one pace at which they do the training, and that's as hard as they can. Because they think that's going to get them better fast enough. And
we've talked about this a lot in other podcasts about,
holding the reins and getting people on. So being able to say to people, this is what this should feel like, and then you do this, and it's actually more of easy, moderate stuff, and very little of medium and mad stuff, because we're doing like a lot of triathlon's an aerobic sport. We've got a lot of aerobic work to build. So we are great proponents at getting people to turn off the tech. As much as you can. Yes, you can. I mean, it's very difficult, but you can get into the habit of pressing start, not looking at it again until you press finish or stop, or then uploading it to Training Peaks if you want, or having a look at it later on your own software. Your life will be so much better for it because you will not be stressed about the numbers, and you'll get off your treadmill and think, oh, that were a good session, or you'll get back into the house after a bike ride or a run outside and you'll think, oh, I hit my goal then. I hit my goals then. You won't be obsessing that, oh, well, I'm 3 seconds per 25 metres slower today. Well, you might be, but is the pool half a degree hotter than it was yesterday? Have you not had any piece of toast as you were getting in the car to go swimming?
Are there a lot more people in pool?
Yeah, were you a bit more stressed because you've got a meeting coming up later that you were trying to plan in your head? All these things can affect you. So don't stress about the minutiae, just go on, feel, because it's much better for you.
And then when you think about in a race, it's much better to think about, to just do it on feel, because numbers lie, don't they? Yeah, numbers, well, spinal taps account, acoustic, well, whatever it was. What do they call them? Amplifier went up to 11, didn't it? It can't, but yeah, it's not
numbers don't necessarily tell you how you're feeling day to day, or they don't always match up. So if let's say your FPT is 230 watts or whatever, and so that's an effort you should be able to sustain for 20 minutes or an hour, depending on whichever test you've done. And then, like, I'm going to keep going back to it. It's 33 degrees in your garage. You've got no fan.
Well, no, it'd be more than that, because my garage are a lot more than 33 degrees.
Yeah, and you've no fan, or only like a piddling one from Argos. That's just basically like an asthmatic dragon blowing at you.
Yeah.
And you're trying to hit 230 watts. It is going to be considerably harder than it is today when it's 17 degrees. Considerably harder.
Yeah.
So why make your life more difficult when you don't need to? And like elite athletes use it all the time, as we said earlier, so across triathlon but also in running, because they know that performance isn't linear. It's not always like that. And in fact, we don't refer to it as being linear, do we?
No.
We think about it a bit like a staircase, where you sort of spiral up in an old-fashioned like staircase, because you have a bit where you plateau and a bit of a peak, and a bit where you plateau and a bit where you peak, but that's consolidating all the training and making you better as you go. And you know, I've seen elite athletes train in real life when nobody else is watching them at altitude in San Moritz, and like the East African runners just absolutely wallop themselves around the track in midday doing really fast efforts, and you think, bloody hell, they're going some later. And then you see them come back at night just before they have the tea, or after they've had the tea, and they're hardly moving.
Yeah.
And they're going around. It just looks like there's like they're floating on the ground, but they're shuffling along. And when we've seen them in Portugal, when they've been leaving the cross-country centre, the coach is on his little mountain bike to go along with them, and he's leaving them for dead because they're going so slow.
Yeah, and that's what we try and get over.
Them being in tune with how what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And being able to adjust in sort of like real time as you're going along, because like I said at the beginning, like what's easy at the start of a session might not be easy by the time you get halfway through a session or towards the end of it, because temperature could have gone up, you're fatigued, you're dehydrated, and it's just keeping in all of that, and whether I'm feeling, and checking in with yourself as to how you're feeling, and whether you need to back off or whether you need to push on. We'll have some sessions where we'll send people off for a run for like 40 minutes, and we might say in the last 10 minutes you can build if you feel good. If you don't feel good, just carry on doing it easy.
Yeah.
So really
it is. It is, and why make your life complicated? And I'm not a big fan of Strava or any of that.
I'm particularly against it this time of year, because you see footballers that are recording themselves as setting world record for 5Ks because they're all doing the pre-season training before pre-season training, and what they're actually doing is running as hard as they can for like 60 seconds, pausing the watch, and then running again. So they're not even continuously running. And when you put it up, when they upload it to Strava, they're like, "Oh, I've done like a 15-minute 5K," and you think, "I don't think you have, mate." Yeah. So I mean, Strava lies. Yeah. Most of the time, and it also creates like what Instagram does for body image.
That is bang on that, Oliver.
Because you just get envious of what somebody else can do. Yeah. But and I know this because I've listened to the cycling podcast. They've been talking to director sportifs of like junior cycling teams and like neo pros, and some of them have started banning the neo pros from putting stuff on Strava because they all follow each other. So they're looking at Tadej Pogacar and going, "Oh, Pog went up that climb at like 7 million watts or whatever it was. I need to get close to that," and they start training far too hard, and they forget that Pog is the world champion and one of the best cyclists in the world, and that they're 20, 21, and they're like, all right, not much younger than Pog, but they've got a long way to go to get to that point. And it's just not it's not the be all and end all. Like, if it's not a Strava, it didn't happen. Well, it did. Like, the amount of times I've left my watch on charge outside of bed, and I've got down to the garage and I've thought, I'm not going back up to fetch that now. Yeah. Or I've got to the swimming pool and thought, oh, it's at home. I'm just going to have to manage without my watch. I just get in and swim, and I'll have a look and think, okay, it's roughly 20 past. Yeah. When I've started, I'll know roughly what time it is when I've finished, and I'll just enter it manually. Yeah. The only person and the only thing that ever matters is your internal computer. Yeah. Because that's the thing that's going to change stuff, not what something says. Or if you have to, what also people do on Strava, that is lunacy, is when you get to like 9.9 kilometres and people keep running to round it up.
But I've got to say, Oliver, I have done that.
No, just stop.
When we first started out, I used to do that. If I thought I was
trotting up and down the street to get an even number. Like,
yeah.
just stop when your session's finished.
But I do now though. I just stop and I think, 9.7. I think, all right. Or whereas back in the day, I would have when I was stupid, I would have run up and down to make sure that I got to 10 or whatever.
Does it matter?
What does it matter?
If you've trained for 40 minutes and you've done 8k, or if you've trained for 40 minutes and done 6k, it doesn't matter. You've done 40 minutes worth of training. Right, it's fine.
And when people say more pain equals more gain, I absolutely loathe that.
Yeah, that's not right.
That's just not right. Yeah, it's about
pain equals no gain.
Yes.
Like your body does not adapt to pain. It just remembers that this is horrible. We don't want to do this again. Yeah. Literally, why we have a nervous system. When you get hit in the face, nobody thinks, "I want to get it," unless you're a boxer. Nobody, even they don't particularly want to be hit in the face. Nobody wants to be hit in the face repeatedly. So when you make yourself hurt, there's a time for that, mostly at an elite level, but it's a different type of pain than like putting yourself through it for just because you're being tough. But that's not being tough. Tough is being able to hold technique under fatigue.
Yeah.
So in our view, pain equals no gain. So you should always be under the pain threshold when you're training.
Yeah.
Stuff about zones as well. Like zone 2 is the in thing at the minute.
Yeah.
But so what? Like we said before, like zone 2, the numbers on zone 2 will shift depending on all the stuff that's happening that day, things that you cannot control. So just turn up, do it by feel, and not be controlled by fear of the numbers.
Yeah. And it will also make you a better athlete, especially when you're racing, on the day, because you'll know, you think, I felt like this in training. I feel all right, maybe I could push on a little bit, or I'll back off a bit.
And also, if you've got control by your numbers, you might be completely undercooking your race.
Yeah.
Because you might be having a really good day and thinking, I've just got to sit at this, I've got to sit at this, and you could go a lot harder, and you feel, but the numbers give you an excuse not to get in touch with your body and how you feel, and you become attuned to yourself, and that's the thing that's going to make you faster and better, quicker.
Because you just have to ask yourself, how do I feel today? What's this feel like? Can I do it?
Yeah. And then while you're training, how does this feel on a scale of 1 to 10, or easy, moderate, medium, mad, whatever it is? And then halfway through your session, or halfway through your interval, like it was a 5-minute or a 10-minute interview, does this still feel like the one that when I started out? And if am I at the top end of that, or am I in the next one? And then you've got to sort of back yourself off and stay within your zone. Like we say, when you don't go out on a group ride with other people, because you do other people's training and not yours.
Yeah.
So and then afterwards, when you reflect on things like, was this the thing that I was aiming for?
Yeah.
Like, did I achieve what I wanted to achieve? Or did I just go out with my mates and we all absolutely nailed it up the climb or whatever, or along the valley, and then actually I was completely spent and they carried on because I was doing their training and not mine? So, good experiment, and I can speak from experience, is to take your watch off, take your power meter off, just do it by feel for a couple of times and see what it's like. Yeah. Leave your watch at home, leave your power, or like when Daniela Reef used to train, she had to have gaffer tape over her power meter so she couldn't obsess about the numbers. Yeah. Like, just do that. Yeah. And then you'll be surprised afterwards how close you are to your actual numbers when you're in whatever, RPE level you're thinking about. Because over time your body will just work it out anyway. Yeah. Where you're seeking comfort and validation from numbers that you might not always be able to hit.
So what do you think? So let's try and explain what we think the zones or our moderate, medium, mad feels like.
Yeah, so easy is an effort that you can maintain all day without any trouble. Yeah. And you can have a conversation while you're doing that.
Yeah. So zone 2 is
moderate.
So
which is a comfortable pace, again, that you can maintain all day, and you should be able to have a conversation, albeit maybe a bit more laboured.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of, you should be able to do that effort all the time for a long period of time.
Yeah. Medium.
Comfortably uncomfortable.
Yeah. So you can do it, but not for a long period of time.
Yeah, but it's not something that you can't do. It's not killing you. It's comfortably uncomfortable.
Yeah. So zone 4 or what we would call mad. No.
Well, that would be medium. Medium would be, so we only have 4.
Yeah.
So what our equivalent of zone 5 would be mad.
Yeah.
Mad is never 100%.
Never,
it's only
ever.
up to 95%.
Yeah.
And it's in small efforts over the course of a week. There might only be in your week's worth of training 15 minutes of mad in absolute total.
Across all 3 disciplines.
Yes, because that's like sharpening the
knife
when you're doing that. Just sharpening that, because like I say, triathlon's an endurance sport. Even a sprint triathlon for ordinary people takes about an hour, and anything above an hour is aerobic exercise. But that's really what feel like, or what we're aiming for. And we give that to our swimmers when they come with us, and the people on camp, we tell them what they should be aiming for, and some of them it's quite literally changed their lives and be able to do that.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
And some of them have completely ditched tech.
So, let's try and give you a few more real world examples. For example, so if you're doing a long run, do it on a loop. So what you can do is that you can run it at your. Say we said to you, well, we want you to run, we want you to do it at a moderate pace. So which how we've just described. So run a loop, then check your pace on your watch, and then your heart rate if you want to, and then next week do the same thing. Same effort. And what did that feel like? But add in, you could also add in 20-second walk breaks, or every 5 minutes. You'll often be faster with less effort, and you'll get to feel how it's about feeling inside what effort you're making.
Yeah, like it helps you to make better decisions while you're racing, because there'll be sometimes you'll think, I feel good here, I can just push on, or actually I'm having a bit of a tough time, I probably ought to just like back off a little bit now, because particularly if you're doing an half Ironman or an Ironman, if you overcook the bike, you're walking on the run, and it's and that can be completely disastrous, particularly in an Ironman. Whereas if you think, I'm actually feeling a bit rubbish while I'm on the bike here, I'm not sure I can hit this number, back off a little bit, find something that puts you back in the right place, and then you'll be able to run when you get to run. Quite often people who don't, because they're just absolutely like red mist comes down, and they're sticking to the plan and not being flexible with themselves or with anything else, they end up walking. Even professionals will say, I completely overcooked that bike and then I paid for it on the run. Well, I mean, it's different if you're a professional because you're trying to earn prize money and points answer it, but they still have the same problem. Whereas as an amateur, unless you're at the top end of it, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, you just don't want to be broken, do you?
No. And when you get to the pool, try just pressing start and then not looking at your watch. Put it onto like the clock mode, so it just tells you what the actual time is rather than how long you've been swimming for.
Oh, and if count how much rest you've got. So
if you can see the pace clock, like the one at Quatera pool is really good because it's massive and there's 3 of them, so you can see them. The one at Rosington where I swim sometimes a week, they've got one at each end that you can see. It's difficult to crawl because you have to. It's high up and
and there ain't one at all on the
other end.
There ain't one at Concord.
There is. It's on the side.
No, there isn't. You've not been for a bit. They've just got a normal clock on the side now. So
I mean, we often say this, but swimming pools in England are not set up for swimming.
No, they're definitely not. They're definitely not set up for swimming.
No, because I can't take my paddles at Rosington.
Can't you?
No, because I might hit someone, and I said, they're literally the size of my hands. So if I'm going to hit someone, I'm going to punch him anyway. And They just said, no, you can't wear them. So
no, they're not that. They're all right at Concord.
I could wear gloves that are filled with water, and that's not going to hurt people apparently. But when I've been there long enough, I might petition for a training lane, because there's like plenty of people in fast lane who would appreciate that. Side questing. So try and use RPE to make better decisions for you and learn from or learn from mistakes that you've made or learn from the decisions that you're making. And you'll find that you get more in tune with yourself a lot quicker.
It helps you make better decisions in all of your walks of life. Really, it's not just not just sport.
So really, in our view, RPE, rate of perceived exertion, or whether you do it on a scale of 1 to 10, like on your Garmin, or whether you do an easy, moderate, medium, mad like us, or whatever it might be that somebody set out, is the secret weapon of the best athletes, because they will all mostly will tend to go by feel, and even like Eliud Kipchoge would know the difference between
definitely.
like mad and easy. And his range is huge, whereas most people you'll see their like fast pace will be 5 minute mile and their easy pace is 7.5 minute mile, which is not big enough as a range there. But anyway, so it'll also help you plan your recovery and avoid like you having problems, avoid having injury, because you'll feel like your body is struggling, and you won't think, oh, I've got to push on because I'm at this heart rate, or I've got to get this what. Slow it down, and you'll learn how to like take a bit of a breather and everything. So
our challenge to you this week is do one session completely by feel, and afterwards rate your effort, then check your numbers
and tell us
in the comments.
Get in touch with us on the Instagram, or send us an email and let us know what you thought about giving one session this week a go with RPE, because that's where the magic happens.
It is. So you've got an announcement, Oliver, about triathlon, the Villamora.
Yes, I have. So our training holiday in October is now open and available for booking. You can book it on our website, animisracing.com, and go to the triathlon coaching bits and select the triathlon holiday. And this year, or this time in October, it is a one and done price. So you will pay for bed and breakfast at a lovely hotel, a 4-star hotel in Villamora, and our coaching all as one go. The price on the website is based on 2 people sharing, but you can pay a single supplement and do that. The only thing you've got to find yourself is your flights. So we have refined our offer and made it much more simple for people. And while it is only bed and breakfast, do not be concerned that everywhere in Villamora is going to rip you off for food, because despite it being a millionaire's playground, it's not expensive at all. Not expensive at all. And on an evening, every evening we're out, and it'll be the same in April, we will have something that we're going to do as an activity. So we'll go to, there's a restaurant we're going to go to where we're going to do like a treasure hunt while we're in there. We've got a quiz night planned, which will be great because my random knowledge of trivia is going to really come in there.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can't enter it, a bit like Bamba Gascoigne or John Simpson.
Some little prizes.
Yes. And we're going to go and play crazy golf. Aren't we? Or mini golf, or whatever it is. There'll be lots of things to keep you entertained, and if you want to bring your partner with you, then they will also be able to have a holiday, because we're at a hotel, so there's a pool, sun lounger, it'll be hot in October still, and then they can come and join us in the evening as well if they want.
And you'll be finished for the lunch, afternoon.
And you can even go on to Cliff Richard's Vineyard, although it's not really Cliff Richard's Vineyard anymore.
Because that's going to be one of his trips.
Maybe not in October.
No, in April.
In April, But people who've been in the past have chartered a boat, and they've had a really good time and a proper holiday. So check out the website, or I'm sure Mindy will put the link to the holiday in the show notes, and you can get yourself booked on. And until next time, we'll see thee.
Thank you for joining us today.
See you next time.
See you then.
Or as we say in Yorkshire,
see thee.